Let's go. Look. I think I just broke the law. I think I just broke the law. What am I talking about? Man, we'll get into it. And I ain't gonna say I broke the law. Maybe I used the communication. I transcended the law. I transcended the law. I got above it. I got above it. My mom always tell me, she say, Isaiah, you got to start over. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to start over. That means you start above this situation or circumstance. And look, this is where we're going to get into the next power key. Look, we're into 28 power keys to success. And I'm talking about a power key that's going to unlock your ability to get up, to get lifted. Look, we're finna take this to the next level. Okay. I'm excited about this. But have you ever thought about what happens when someone breaks the law, right? When someone breaks the law, they naturally enter into a space, right? They enter into a space, uncharted territory, or territory like, man, this could be scary, right? This could be a scary situation when somebody breaks the law. And then you have the thought process, what if somebody transcends the law? What if what if they didn't necessarily break it, but what if they utilize the law to prepare themselves into a different situation or circumstance to get to the next level? What about that? What about that? Well, that's what we are. We're going to talk about gravity today. Uh, gravity is a natural law, right? That's what a lot of us have found. Like, or if you study science, this has been the communication. But I'm using this word because it's something that we naturally just shrug our shoulders to, man. Like we just walk around day to day and we pay absolutely no attention to this word that can literally take us to the next level. If you want to see your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations manifest before you face to face, it's important that you unload, unpack, unlock, and unveil every attribute and ability that you possess for success by utilizing these 28 power keys to success, which is gravity on today. So let's take a look at gravity. Before we unload, we always take a look at a definition. And when I looked at the definition of gravity, one of them that I was like, man, there's a few different definitions, but this one stood out to me, and this is the one I want to share with you today. This is the one that really, really drives things home, right? If you look at it figuratively, and if you look at it in a sense where, hey, I go through situations and circumstances personally and professionally. If we look at leadership, if we look at business wise, if we look at just life, man, we have some gravity in our situations. We have gravity in our finances. We have gravity in our relationships. We have gravity in the workplace, and we have gravity all around us, right? Our thoughts, our mind, our feelings, our emotions. Things get heavy. They get heavy. It's some weight on us at times, and we have to look at this and be like, man, how can I deal with this weight? How can I deal with this weight? How can I transcend this law? Because this is heavy. It's causing so much for me right now. And so I utilize this because I think it's very important for us to understand. But there's only one way to actually transcend the law of gravity that I study. The one way that I'm gonna communicate to you in this fashion, right, is that the way to transcend gravity is by actually utilizing another law. That's what I found. I found out that if you understand law, you can use law to your advantage. And I think that's really where we fail to do. We fail to look at the principles. We fail to look at the laws. We fail to utilize them in a capacity or in a sense where they're aiding us to get to where we want to go versus there being confinements, right? They're aiding us to get to that next level. They're aiding us to get to our destination. They're aiding us to see our dreams, our goals, and aspirations face to face. And if we actually implement the law and utilize it effectively, it'll allow us to transcend situations when we're feeling the weight, right? When we're feeling heavy, when we're feeling the heaviness, when it seems like things are out of place, when it seems like things are dark and it seems like there's a lot of stress. Like if we understand the law and we utilize it properly, then we can transcend one law with another law, right? And that's exactly what we're going to talk to you about today. So think about this. What law transcends gravity, right? You look around the world, you're like, man, we stuck to the ground. Like, yeah, man, like I can pick my feet up, but man, I'm not floating. I'm not flying. We're not at the NASA, training facility where we can get into this chamber and it just removes gravity and we float. This is not something that's going on. What we're doing, we're experiencing gravity every single day. We got situations and circumstances, and there's gravity every single day. And so the idea behind this is, how do we enact another law to transcend that? Whenever we're down because of the weight, whenever we're heavy because of the weight, how do we transcend that? And let me talk to you real quick. This is how we transcend the law of lift. Have anybody heard of the law of lift? If not, here's the definition or a communication concerning it. It says the law of lift is a force created that is equal or exceeds the force. It should say force of gravity. So it's equal to or exceeds the force of gravity. How do we miss a C there? Anyway, look, if you are looking to transcend the weight that you're experiencing, right? If you're looking to transcend the issues, the circumstances, the feelings, the emotions, if you're looking to change those into something that's useful, if you're looking to grow and expand and make an extreme impact in your own personal situation or the lives of others, like, what do you have to do? You have to understand the law of lift, okay? You got to understand the law of lift. Let's put that back up there, right? You got to understand the law of lift. Now, the law of lift saying that I have to create a force that is equal to gravity. So what situations and circumstances are you experiencing right now? Like, man, you got to match that. At the very least, you got to match that. And that'll bring about a level of balance, right? That'll bring about some balance. We talked about that. But if I decide to exceed that, that's when lift takes place. How many of you know, hey, like, it's time to take flight? Like, sometimes, you know what? It's time to take flight. And you ever heard of the term fight or flight? Fight or flight? Either you match the situation or you get up, you get above it, you get away from it. So if I'm matching the situation, then like I'm bringing force with force. But if I exceed the force, then I can actually get above it. And I'm telling you right now, like, this is how you do it, by utilizing the law of lift. You got to literally equal thrust to get past this gravity. Like, when situations are tough, you got to be tough too. Like, when situations are heavy, you got to get heavy too. Like, you got to put back the same, like, you got to push back. If something is coming at you heavy, you got to push back. If there's a high velocity, you got to come with velocity. If there's an elevation, you got to hit them with the same elevation. You got to meet it or beat it, right? You got to meet it or beat it. You got to meet it or exceed it. And I'm telling you, you can achieve your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. When you see the gravity in front of you, you just think of it like, you know what? This is game right here. It's time to go in. It's time to meet this. It's time to raise up to another level. It's time to meet gravity where it's at. It's time to meet this weight where it's at, right? You put it on the bar, I'm going to bench press it. You put it on the rack, I'm going to squat it. It's time to get this weight up. And we're going to level this thing out. And guess what? I might get so amped up because gravity showed up. You should get excited when gravity show up, because now it's time to show gravity exactly what you got, right? And gravity is trying to show you what you made of. So when this weight show up and you meet it, you're like, man, I beat that. I beat that. And think about where you are today. Think about all the things that you went through in life and that you're here today. You beat that. You beat that. You've met and exceeded gravity on multiple occasions, numerous occasions. And that should be gratification enough to give you the confidence to say, when something heavy shows up, I'm going to attack it. I'm going to figure something out. I'm going to meet it with the same tenacity. I'm going to meet it with the same energy. I'm coming with the same energy. I'm going to meet it, or I'm going to beat it. I'm above this. Like, this is not going to take me down. This is not going to weigh me down. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to run out of this. I'm going to jump over this. This is nothing but a hurdle. I'm going to get past it. Like, so this is the mental capacity that we got to have. We got to have this paradigm shift. We really got to think differently. We got to have that mindset, that growth mindset, that success mindset, and say, hey, listen, I'm going to enact another law when gravity shows up. And I know which one to use. It's going to be lift. I'm going to get above it. Like anybody who's trying to soar, if y'all looking to take y'all dreams, y'all goals, and y'all aspirations to the next level, if you're looking to soar and fly high, this is the way to do it. You got to meet gravity where it is. You got to see how much weight it is. You got to be like, okay, that's a measurement right there. It's measuring how much I'm gonna put back. It's measuring how much I'm gonna put in. It's measuring how far I'm willing to go. It's measuring the volume. It's measuring the sound. It's measuring the weight. You see what I'm saying? And so because it has this measurement, you are able to calibrate. You see what I'm saying? You're able to calibrate and you're able to impact this thing and you're able to hit it at an angle. So when I looked at the law of lift, and they had this diagram, and the diagram showed an airplane, and it had this communication right here, and the communication said you got to meet gravity on equal force. You got to meet it at equal force. This is when things start to lift. Like you start going up soon as you meet it at equal force. Like you can go up soon as you hit equal force. The issue is that like after you hit it at equal force or you exceed the force, you still have to calibrate, right? Like you got to determine whether you want to go straight, like you want to continue in this thing, right? Like at this point, we're balanced. We're going to continue at this place, or if we're going to go up, right? If we're going to go up, because like if I change just the angle, it's going to take me up. It's going to take me up, and so your elevation, you got to think above the situation. You got to think above. The elevation is right here in the mind. Like you got to think above the situation. You got to think above the circumstances. You got to think above those things. And when you think above those things, guess what happens? You take off. You take off. Situations and circumstances, they don't bother you as much anymore. And guess what? You start to create distance between you and it. You start to create distance between you and it. And that's where the value of the law of lift takes place, because, man, sometimes we say, hey, look, I'm coming at you with the same energy. Fine, right? Come at me with the same energy. But listen, when you get here, just realize I might have more. I might be above that. And like, I probably done created some level of separation between you. We ain't going to see each other. You see what I'm saying? Or either you just going to look up and you're going to be chasing. But like I'm not finna stay at this level anymore. Like that force is not going to weigh me down, whether it's stress, whether it's depression, whether it's financial situations, whether it's relationships, whether it's job related, whatever it is, it's not going to weigh me down anymore. And I'm finna make a decision, right, to meet it where it's at. I'm going to meet it where it's at, and then I'm going to beat it where it's at. So whether it's your physical being, I see what it is. I understand it. I met it with the same mind. Okay, I determined what it is. I've identified it. Now it's time for me to beat it. It's time for me to get over it, right? Think about this. Some of y'all just need to get over it. Some of y'all just need to get over it. Y'all done met it. Y'all been wrestling, going back and forth with it for a long time. Some of y'all just need to get over it. Some of y'all just need to change the level of thinking that you have, to change the altitude, change the elevation. Some of y'all just need to look up and get above this situation and circumstance. Because we don't want you in turmoil. We don't want you going back and forth with a situation. That's not it. That's not it. What we want is for you to go above it. We want you to unload. We want you to unpack. We want you to unlock and unveil every attribute and ability that you already possess for success. And the way to do that is to get above the gravity, to get above the weight. Like we gotta exceed it, man. Like I was my mom, she teaches awareness, and she talked about 1% and 1 degree, right? She talked about 1 degree, and she's like, yeah, when the plane is flying, if the nose of the plane turns by 1 degree, after a certain amount of time, it'll land in a different state. It'll land in a different state. So if you change 1 degree, you can land in a different state, a different state of mind, like a different position, a different location. You can be somewhere else. and above and separate it from this issue, this gravity that you've been experiencing. I had a time where I was just scrolling through social media. Like it could have been a social media addiction at the time. And I was just scrolling. I was like, man, I'm spending a lot of time on here. And then this video pops up. This individual was they were talking about boiling water. They were talking about boiling water. They said, 210 degrees, water is not boiling. But at 211 degrees, 1 degree higher, water boils. And I was like, man, that's crazy, And then I thought about that. After the water boils, what happens? What happens? Steam takes place. And so the atmosphere changes. You start to see water transcends the pot. It starts to come out of the pot, and it's in a different form. It's in a different form. It comes out of the pot, out of the thing that's causing it to heat up, anger, depression, like or whatever it is, like situations and circumstances. It came out of all of that, and now it's in a different environment, and it's changing the environment that it's in, right? And so you have that ability, you have that capacity, you have that thought process in place when you understand that gravity needs to be met with force. Like you can't just sit here and let the weight of the world crush you. You can't let it just lay on you like that. Like you gotta get up and you gotta put some force back into it. You gotta exceed that force. You gotta get above it. Like you gotta elevate, right? You gotta get some degrees above it. You gotta change the situation, change the circumstances, change the atmosphere. And sometimes it takes you to do it you can do it by yourself. Sometimes you gotta link up with other people. Sometimes you need new information. Sometimes you need new resources. Whatever the case may be, once you have identified that this gravity is attacking you, you should also be able to determine what kind of force you need to get back at it. You should be able to determine that. And that's why gravity is so important. When we look at the power key gravity and you start to access the law, right? You start to understand the law of gravity and the weight, like it's a measurement, right? So you should be able to measure the situation, the circumstance. Sometimes we have to slow down and speed up. You ever heard that term? So we have to measure what's going on, and it takes a little time sometimes to measure. And when we measure it, we know exactly what we got to put in, like input, output, right? Input, output. And I always want to get above the situation. So I'm going to go a little bit harder. Then yeah, when you come at me, I'm coming a little bit harder. Don't be shocked. Don't get thrown, like you might get thrown off, but don't get shocked. I'm coming a little bit harder. I'm coming a little bit harder. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. And you need to be excited about it as well. Look, this is 28 Power Keys to Success. It's impacting lives all around the world. I want you to get your copy. Go to the description, click the link, get your copy today, and I'll see y'all at the top. Hey, make sure you understand that gravity cannot hold you down.